Hello everybody and welcome back to Ravenport. So today I have a very exciting test to do between two different machines. Now I must just say first of all, this is a game and this does not represent the true capabilities of the tractors in real life. Bit of a disclaimer there. It's just a bit of fun, purely for fun, just to see how the two perform compared to each other. The MT-73-8 which we've got here is a brand new tractor and it's also rated higher anyway, the horsepower rating is higher, and the one over here is a very decent looking mod. It is a Cat Challenger 75C which is 325 horsepower, so there is a difference between the two. The one over there, despite it being the smallest, is actually 380 horsepower, so yes, it's the smallest but still coming in at a higher rating of horsepower. They can both do 24 miles per hour though, which is interesting. Everything else is standard. I'm going to keep it all standard just to keep it as fair as possible, but I'm going to completely overload both of them. This plough, I think, actually requires, it's either 500 or 550 horsepower. It's something fairly extreme. I'll just take a look. 550. And yeah, we've got one of these at 325. It is a fairly flat field, so it should be relatively easy anyway, but yes, there is a serious lack of horsepower from both of them. So let's see how they go. First of all, we have the MT-73-8, or 738. So we're going to get going straight away. First of all, acceleration. Let's see how it does. Pretty good, getting up to its 5 miles per hour there. It doesn't seem to be struggling too much. I don't think there's any track slip. No, I'm in the way though. So now let's move on to the smaller Cat Challenger and see how this performs. I also love the interior. It's just like a load of digital lights, which I think is actually quite nice, the simplicity of it. I don't know what it's like in real life, but it just looks quite, I don't know, appealing in the game. I like it. Simplicity can actually be better sometimes than a load of fancy dials and buttons, but with modern equipment, of course, you do need to have all these different dials and computers and stuff to be able to run various pieces of equipment. Acceleration, very good. That was actually probably faster than the other one. That is actually pulling that really well. Obviously this is a fairly flat field. I think it would change when it's going uphill, but then again any tractor is likely going to struggle pulling a plough of this size up a hill. That's impressive. I like it. And of course, if you do want to download the mod, there is a link down below on Mod Hoster, and the credits as well. But to my knowledge, it's been converted from 17, and it's been modified. It's been improved for 19, and I think it does look very good. Right, so when we get to the end, I'm going to obviously turn things around and change the implement for a subsoiler, which is going to be, you would have thought, quite tricky because it's a subsoiler which is coming at a very wide width and it's going to go deeper than what this plough is going. So I'm interested to see. The actual rating of it is, I think, 450 horsepower, so actually less, but you just never know how it's going to affect it. They've come head to head. I've moved out of the way and the newer one has now managed to head back. So yeah, we're going to go and swap over to the subsoiler, and finally I'm hopefully going to be doing a bit of cultivating as well, just to see exactly how they perform. I would use a drill, but I don't think the drill is going to take that much power. Certainly the rated horsepower requirement is much lower, in the region of 200 horsepower, rather than a plough which is taking over 500. I suppose something which would be very tempting to do would be to stick a Big Bud's machine onto here, basically something from the Big Bud DLC from 17, which has been put into 19 anyway, so that could be quite interesting to see. But first things first, a subsoiler. I'm not going to do them at the same time this time. I think it would be a little bit too, well, not confusing, but you know, distracting to have both of them going at the same time. This is actually, I think, the biggest subsoiler we can buy in the game. Right, there we go. Right, first things first, the 75C. We'll shut the engine off on there. It's just, I love the look of it. It's just such a good looking machine at the same time. I guess you could say it's quite ugly at the front. It's weird. It's like when something is ugly enough, it actually becomes pretty again. It could just be me, but I do like it. I think it's a nice machine. Okay, so let's get those beacons off and let's see how it performs. acceleration very good, and actually just everything very good. Doing that with ease. It's like it's been boosted above 325. Then again, 325 horsepower is still quite a bit. Okay, so next what I need to do is get the other Challenger, and we'll see exactly how that one performs as well. But going by that, with the other one being a high horsepower, it's going to be just fine. I think I'll have to do the same test again on a field which is up a fairly steep hill. That'll be interesting to see. I think the limitation is going to be the track slip over the power. Okay, here we go. So once again, acceleration. I say acceleration, obviously it's not that fast, but that was still pretty good. But yeah, very, very good, and I'd say they're very similar so far. As for the physical size, yeah, the new one's much taller, but that could be because the tracks are taller in the first place. They are, in some ways, very similar, in other ways, different. Obviously, the cosmetics are different, the styling is very modern on the new one, but then, the overall shape, you still recognise both of them as a Challenger, even from a distance. I've seen some machines like this in auctions, and they do still go for quite a lot of money. They may be old, but they're still good. So the next test I'm going to do is a very large cultivator, and I'm actually going to go for the biggest, the largest one you can buy, and that might then start to show which one is more powerful. We know which one has more power, but is it going to come through like that? Maybe the traction of the other one is going to let it down, or maybe the other one is just going to be better. We'll see. Okay, so the biggest one here is the Flexi Coil, but these three have got the same horsepower rating. So I could actually pick anything. The one over there looks physically smaller, but it still requires 500. But I'm going to go for, yeah, the Flexi Coil, since it was at the end of the list. Psychologically, it makes me think it's still going to take more power, even though it probably won't. It's a beast of a machine, which likely will not fit through there, so I'm going to have to go across here. Last time I did this off screen, I was taken out by the train, so that was fun. I'm quietly confident. I think I think it's actually going to do a really good job with this. When we've done this, I'm going to take the subsoiler to a field which is fairly steep. Or I could take the ploughs, doesn't really matter. Anything. The ploughs take the most power, apparently, by 50 horsepower. Here we go. I'll pull forward and come to a standstill, and now we're going to accelerate. 3, 2, 1. That's impressive. That is very impressive. Fluctuating a bit, it does seem to be just fluctuating between 4 and 5 miles per hour. It could be due to lack of traction, although it doesn't seem to be slipping. That is pulling that incredibly well. That is very impressive. Okay, so this all seems a bit too easy. I'll do the same test with the other Challenger, and then it'll be over to a field which is going up a hill. Go on then, MT738. Let's see if it can do it any better, but I think that's going to be very hard to beat. Okay, yeah, that is better. Marginally. But then it does have the extra horsepower to be able to keep up that extra 1 mile per hour, 2 miles per hour. Arguably as well, the other Challenger might have been pulling us up a slightly steeper section of the field. Like I said, it's not a true test. It's impressive. I am super amazed that the smallest Challenger that we can buy in Farming Simulator is pulling essentially the biggest cultivator without any issues. I think this is all going to change when I go on a hill, which you would expect. So let's fold things up, and I'll pick a different field. There's my solar farm, and wind farm. Getting on very well. It's going to be bringing in the money very soon. Now obviously this map doesn't really have many fields which are situated on a hill. However, despite it looking fairly flat, I think pulling up here is going to be still quite difficult. So if I go up the crop that way, it is going to be obviously a case of destroying the crop, but it's just a test anyway. Yes, I think this will be quite interesting to watch. My guess is either field 15 or 16. I'll buy both. And yeah, let's bring the tractors over. Yes, I could go across this way, but I really don't think that's going to be much of a challenge for us. After all, it is called a Challenger, so we need to give it something a bit better than this. I probably should take you onto a map which has got some really steep hills and make the test even more difficult, but if one of these is going to struggle, then I think that is the test done anyway. Right, I'm going to choose this field just here. As I've said, it doesn't look too steep, but it could be quite deceptive. Because as soon as you put an incline into the situation, it could make all the difference in the world. Here we go. 2 miles per hour. Scared the birds. That is actually pretty good. We're just about hitting 3, but it is going to be maintaining 2. Now I'm going to actually cultivate over exactly the same piece of ground. It doesn't make it any more difficult or any easier. So it's going to be a good testing ground for the other Cat Challenger. But that's pretty good. I'm going to call that 2. It's maintained 2 consistently. It has just about hit 3, but it's not really maintained it long enough. I'm going to stick with 2. So I'll back up and we can start the test again with the 75C. This is good fun. I'm enjoying this. You might be able to tell. Whilst I'm at it, actually, I might bring a plough across as well, just because it seems that nothing has actually stopped the Challenger from actually succeeding. It seems to be, yes, very hard to actually beat. Maybe the plough will stop it. It's going to run much deeper than the cultivator. Ooh, mesh. Okay, here we are. I was actually expecting one of these to struggle, but no. Clearly, yes, the challenges are very good. Yes, I am looking forward to this. If it succeeds with both of these tests, I'm going to do a different video, hopefully, with a much more challenging situation. We need to challenge the Challenger. Okay, here we go. It needs to beat 2 consistently. It's getting 1, which is expected. It's a lower horsepower tractor. It's probably lighter as well. Yeah, that's consistently getting 1, although it has picked up. Yes, fluctuating to 1, which the other one didn't do. But then it goes up to 3. Scared the same birds again. Actually, it's got 3 there. 2 to 3. And then back to 1. That's a tough one. Well, we'll take an average of 2. I would say that is exactly the same. Maybe a little bit slower, but very similar. Oh no! Don't you just hate it when your cultivator runs away from you? Okay then, here we go. We'll go with the older one first. I say older because it isn't actually old. Otherwise I'll be calling myself old, which would be worrying. Okay, I'm going to go with 3. That's consistently getting 3. Remember, this is a tractor which has 325 horsepower and a plough which requires 550. How is it doing this? No! My thing's on the line. Oh wow, wrong line. Although that would have been quite fun to see it, well, probably catapult it into the air. I think as it's been proven, you can't actually stop the train by crashing it into stuff. It's invincible. Okay then. The final test of today. It's got 3, it's got 2. I'll wait until the whole plough is actually into the field. Okay, there we go. We have got some track slip. Definitely slipping. We have consistently 2. Yep, I'm going to call that 2. It's maintained it long enough. And the other one did it at 3. Interesting. Well, this has been a great test. I've thoroughly enjoyed doing it. A very decent mod as well, the one over there. This is obviously a base game machine. But no, that's intriguing. I think they're both really, really nice tractors. But yeah, it's still tough to decide. Some of these tests, the newer one did better, and some of them, the older one did better. So let's just say they're both very good tractors. What a conclusion. It was worth watching a video for. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.